Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today, you are here for the Department of Sustainability's Lunch and Learn. My name is Catherine Sturinsky. Today's topic is Recycle Right at Work. But before we jump into this topic, I have a couple of housekeeping items. First, if you have a question or comment to share, please do so in the Q&A box. Questions will be answered after the presentations. However, if you have a question as we're going, go ahead and type it because we don't want you to forget. And the presentation, as you know, is being recorded. And so that link will be sent directly to you in an email next week. And feel free to share it with colleagues and friends and family. This is focused on work, but it is applicable in the big picture as well. And last, I want to remind you to please stick around till the end so that you can get your wellness points if you are participating in that program. All right. We are here, as I said, for Recycle at Work. And our first speaker is going to be Melanie Knowles, who is Director of Cuyahoga County Department of Sustainability. And she's going to walk us through the big picture, and then we will hear from Doreen Schreiber, who is the Business Recycling Specialist for the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District. So with that, I will pass it over to you, Melanie.
Thank you, Catherine. She was too polite to say, but I'm a little bit screen sharing impaired, and that's why we had to get it set up from the very get-go here. So that's why you get to see me on the screen from the beginning. But anyway, thank you so much for being here today. So as Catherine said, the agenda, we're going to talk about recycling in county buildings. And later, you're going to also hear from Doreen Schreiber at the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District. But I'm going to start by taking a step back and looking at why recycling, and then what are our goals for recycling at the county. Talk about some best practices, and then some details about a couple pilot programs that we are doing in the Admin HQ building on East 9th Street and also at the 1801, 1803 Superior building. When I turn it over to Doreen, she will be talking about the solid waste district, the many resources they have there, and then also what happens to this material once it leaves our building. Where does the recycling go? What happens to it? Where does the trash go? And we will leave you with some resources at the end if you have more questions. And of course, you are always welcome to reach out to us at the Sustainability Department as well. We're going to start with a poll today. So go ahead, Catherine. We want to know, why should we recycle? Why is recycling important? And Catherine, I'll let you determine when you think the votes are in and you can share the results. Our options here: it's better for the environment, it saves money, it creates jobs, or all of the above.
Okay, well, we have 7 of our 11 participants, so I am going to give it a few more seconds, and then we'll end the poll
Don't
and
be
share the
shy,
results.
jump in.
And fair warning, there's more of these.
Yes, we're going to be a little interactive today.
Okay, we've got 9 of 11, so let's go ahead and
Good.
end it. And here are our results.
All of the above, unanimous, wonderful. Of course, that's the right answer. um, Come on, next slide. Okay, so yes, all of those things are true and very important. There are economic reasons to recycle. Recycling creates jobs, it supports businesses, and it's part of something called the circular economy. So, not to get too into the weeds on this, the diagram here is from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. I know that it's too small to really read and take in probably on your screen, but the idea that they're getting across here is the many different ways and places where materials can go back into the process of production. The left side is actually for organic materials, and the right side is for technical materials. And that's where we get things like our recyclables, our metals and paper and all of those kinds of items. We traditionally think about products being from cradle to grave. And so something is manufactured, it's used, and then the grave is often a landfill. But in this circular economy, in this diagram here, those things are recycled or reused or remanufactured. They have a new life. And so we talk about that sometimes as being cradle to cradle. And I'll credit Bill McDonough and Michael Brongart for that language. We have lots of great folks who've contributed to this concept of a circular economy. So what does that mean for our businesses or like on the ground? That might include a business sending its waste material or excess materials from manufacturing to another company that actually needs that material for their production. But it also includes when any of us puts a recyclable item into the correct bin, where it goes to be sorted and baled and sold to a company that will make it into something else. So we are part of that circular economy as well. An environmental benefit of all of this is that the more we reuse these recyclable materials, we reduce the need for more raw materials. So there's less need for harvesting or extracting new materials. That both saves money and it reduces the impact on the environment. This next slide, this is going back a little ways, but I went back to find it. This is an old, maybe 10 or more years ago campaign from Keep America Beautiful. And I just really like this idea of these products, they want to be recycled. And it gives you an idea of the types of things that materials can be recycled into. So here is a plastic bottle that wants to be recycled into a hairbrush, or another plastic bottle that wants to be made into a bench. I'm sure we've all heard about benches made from recycled plastics. And on the bottom right there, a metal can, a aluminum can that wants to be made into a bicycle. So there are a lot of good durable uses for these materials that they can be recycled into over and over again. So specifically for our county buildings, I wanted to give a little bit of background that over the last year, the county facilities have been evaluated for opportunities to improve sustainability. And that included things like looking at energy consumption and water consumption and transportation accessibility. And it also included waste and recycling. So here are some of the things that we found out about recycling. Lots of people in our buildings are making efforts to recycle, and that is really wonderful. However, there is still a lot of contamination that is present in our recycling bins. And there are a number of reasons that that may be. But having that contamination in those bins, it makes it difficult or more expensive or possibly even impossible to recycle some of that. So we really want to keep that recycling stream very clean. Part of the issue is that messaging on the recycling bins and signage isn't always clear or even present. And, when there isn't clarity, I know people really want to recycle as much as they can. So they're inclined to put things in there that maybe shouldn't be in there. And maybe there isn't enough information for them to know what should and shouldn't be in that bin. We also have a lot of different styles of bins throughout all the buildings. So there isn't really consistency there either. And actually, in our county buildings, we even have multiple different recycling haulers. It might depend on whether it's a county-owned building or whether the county is leasing the space. And then is the contract with, the owner of the building. So there are a lot of different variables here. So given all of that, we have another poll for you. So go ahead, Catherine, and share this poll. We want to know what people already know about what is recyclable. So we've got a little quiz. If you had these items, where would you put them?
And also there are 6 questions in this poll, so be sure to scroll down to get to each question. There's a little gray bar on the right-hand side of the screen. So keep scrolling. It looks like the first question has been answered by a few people. So there are 6 total. So just keep scrolling down and putting in your answers because
I
these
know
are
we're asking a lot from you. This is a lot.
and these are tricky ones, honestly. They truly are. That's why they're here. Okay. Looks like we've got somebody working on the last question right now. So give it a few more seconds and then we'll end the poll. Okay, I'm ending the poll now and let's see our results.
All right. So, little bit of a trick question on some of these, but really the answer is all of these go into the landfill bin. Let me see, can I scroll through the results? Okay, so yes, the top item, the cup with the lid and the straw, it's plastic, but it's not a type of plastic that can go into our recycling. Actually, you know what I think I'm gonna do, Catherine, is provide some more feedback as we get to the images of our new signage and bins. What do you think?
Okay, sounds good. I'll stop sharing this.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. And if you have clarifying questions about that or anything else at the end, please feel free to let us know, and we will share more specific details on why each one of those are actually items for the landfill. But it's also not unusual because we are seeing those items being put into recycling bins of various kinds. And what does that tell us as a county? Let's see, get back to this. That the recycling infrastructure can better support effective recycling because we're not providing the consistency and information that is needed right now. These are examples of bins that we have in our county buildings. You might be familiar with these, or you might have different ones in your space. So they vary in the language that they use, the detail that they provide, the colors. The bottom right there, that middle bin has some signage, but it's covered up by a liner. So there are a number of different challenges with what is available in most of our buildings. Now, I will say you can still recycle right into these bins, and we're going to give you some more information to help with that. And you'll be hearing about our pilot programs that we're going to be spreading throughout these buildings over time. It's going to take a little while. We have a lot of spaces that will try to make this easier for all of us. So with regard to the signage, working with the Solid Waste District and Doreen, who you're going to be hearing from soon, we identified some signage from a company called Recycle Across America. I should say it an organization. And this is a screen grab from an old video of theirs that I really appreciate. So they're asking if every intersection in the US had a unique stop sign, how confusing would that be? And of course, it would be very confusing. You would have to stop and look at it and think about it. It could cause accidents. Um, so it's a good example of what would happen if you had inconsistency. However, in this country, I guess in many countries of the world, of course, we have standardized signage. We have standardized signage for traffic signs. We even have standardized signage for nutrition labels. So we know that we can do it. We know it's possible to standardize information about recycling. Recycle Across America doesn't just help with these signs, but they also do research and collect data about the effectiveness of recycling with, for example, these signs. Um, One of their examples, one of many, is the national parks. The ones that have the standardized labels on their recycling bins have experienced 100% increase. They've doubled the amount of recycling that they've collected, and their contamination has reduced so much it's nearly eliminated. Here's one photo, and this is a sign that we wouldn't use because of our recycling stream, but you'll see what we do have. And look at that beautiful vista, and we have some facilities for recycling and this signage that is really clear about what can go into it. So with that, I'm going to switch over to our pilot program. The first one, this is a pilot program that's at our administrative headquarters and at the 1801 and 1803 Superior Avenue building. We are able to do this because we received a grant from the Ohio EPA. It's called the Recycle Ohio Grant. And we were able to purchase some new bins and some new signage. And we started just with these two buildings as a pilot. So we just kicked this off. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to learn from it. What do we need that's more or different before we expand it beyond this space? So on the left, you see our new bins. And we have bins for 3 streams. So on the left is landfill. This is preferred language so that you know, where does the trash go? It goes to a landfill. So it really makes people aware of what happens to what goes into that bin. In the middle, in this example, we have our paper stream. So clean, dry, office paper. There's a picture that has examples of what kinds of paper that could be. So that gives you a little bit more information there. I will say that for secured paper, buildings still have either they have secured paper through North Coast Recycling, which are the larger blue toters, and they probably have a lock on them. Or some areas have secure paper through Gateway Recycling. And again, those are specially locked and secured for those papers. But other non-secure paper items can go into these paper bins to be recycled. On the right-hand side, we have the plastic, it says glass, cans, and plastic, bottles and cans. So the key here, it isn't all plastic. It's only plastic bottles. So what you see depicted, and I have on the right a little closer up of the signage so that you can see it. So we can take glass jars or bottles, aluminum cans, and we can see the plastic bottle on the right-hand side. It does have the lid on it. You can, the cap on the plastic bottle, as long as it's on there tightly, you can recycle it that way. It actually helps keep the recycling stream a little bit cleaner, and it helps that bottle keep its shape when it's going through the sorting process. And Doreen's going to talk to you a little bit more about what that looks like. That's really all that can go into these containers. So if it isn't on the picture, it shouldn't go into the container, either for the glass cans and plastic bottles or for the paper. If in doubt, throw it out into the landfill bin. And I know that can be hard because we wish some of these things were more easily recyclable, but right now, our goal is to have a clean recycling stream and to divert as many recyclables as we can. And to do that effectively, we want to sort effectively, and we hope that we are giving clearer, more consistent information and facilities to be able to do that. Now, another part of the pilot program, as you may have heard, is with regard to the blue paper recycling bins that were at most folks' desks. So the challenge here is that this bin was only meant for recycling paper. And in some cases, there was a lot of contamination. Folks were maybe using them as trash bins or just putting trash and recycling into the bins. And unfortunately, that does not fit within our custodial contract. They are not able to empty trash bins, and the highly contaminated materials in the recycling bins weren't able to be effectively recycled. So the decision was made to remove these bins and provide the recycling stations, like you saw on the last slide, to help people be able to get those materials into the right place, sort them into their landfill or paper or bottles and cans. Now, I know change can be hard, but the sustainability department is here with you. If you'd like to find more ways for your department to recycle effectively or to reduce paper use, please reach out to the sustainability department. We would be happy to work with you. So the other pilot program we just started is a pilot composting program at the administrative headquarters. The picture you see here is the first floor cafe. And so you'll see we have the glass cans and plastic bin. If you have a bottle or a can from what you had with lunch, we of course have the landfill bin. And in the middle, you can see we have a compost bin. We are working with Rust Belt Riders. You see their sign on the left that explains what is acceptable into that bin and what things are unacceptable. But just in brief, what can you compost? Any food scraps, whether they're expired, raw, cooked. If it was food, it can go into this bin. So fruits, vegetables, meat, seafood, dairy. We do want to avoid large amounts of liquid in this bin, but you could put in coffee grounds or tea bags and filters if they don't have the staple in them. Or food soiled paper, so maybe a napkin or a paper towel. It also will accept BPI certified serviceware. So if it's a compostable plate or fork or something like that, it will actually have the BPI certified logo on it. I'm just realizing now I should have put an example of that on the screen, but the signage by the bins does have an example of that. So all of those can go into this compost bin. We're hoping that this goes really smoothly and we can iron out any kinks that we encounter and then look at potentially expanding. But right now we want this really focused pilot to be really successful. And with that, I am ready to turn it over to Doreen, well, take it from here, Doreen. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you, Melanie. Bear with me a moment here. I'm going to go ahead, let's share from the beginning and share sound, share and slideshow from beginning. Whoops. It's not going to do. There we go. Did everybody see that?
Yes, that looks great.
Working? Perfect. Thank you. I'm Doreen Schreiber, the Business Recycling Specialist with the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District. We are an educational and planning agency. We work with all 59 communities in Cuyahoga County, providing them with information and our expertise with regards to waste reduction, recycling. Karen Miller, who is on the call here, she does our educational programs, especially for, and if there's questions today about composting or home recycling, she's going to be able to answer those. I work with the commercial industrial sector. So if you have any questions about recycling at home, or any questions about disposal or how to recycle some unusual items, please contact the Solid Waste District directly. So some of the things that we do, we have TV collections twice a year. If you have an old TV you want to get rid of, we collect them twice a year, usually March and around Halloween time, or at least in October. Karen hosts the home composting workshops. You can find those under the events page when they are available. We do some special collections, which I'll talk about in a minute. We have something that we usually host twice a year called Zero Landfill, where architects and design firms give us or have materials that they don't want, whether it's fabric or tiles or whatever it might be. And teachers and artists and crafters can come in on a Saturday and, take these materials for free as much as they want. And you can look for that under our events page as well. We host reduce, reuse, repair fairs, where if you've got like a lawnmower that's broken, a lamp that's broken, a vacuum cleaner that's broken and you want to know how to fix it, or you want to get it fixed, or you're like me and you don't feel like sewing that button on or repairing your pants, come to one of these fairs. It's under our events page. If you go camping, there really is no way to collect these small propane tanks except at our facility. They're the tiny ones that go with the small, when you're going camping, they're very small tanks. So they're taken by appointment. Battery collection, same thing. We collect batteries by appointment. Lead acid batteries must go to a scrapyard. We do not collect those here. If you have long fluorescent tubes at home, you can make an appointment to bring them to us. The curly Q bulbs, the small curly Q fluorescent bulbs, CFLs, go to Lowe's or Home Depot. We don't collect those at our facility. This you can find on our webpage. And I know you're recording this, so I guess it should be available to everybody so that you know some of the things we collect. By the way, we collect these items all year round, including those holiday lights and campaign signs. The empty pill bottle collection, that's brand new. We just started that. I know that you wanted to find out where your items are going when you recycle them, whether they're at home or at work. They're going to what's called material recovery facilities. We call them MRFs. Now, these are not recycling facilities. These are sorting facilities. The materials here simply get sorted, they get baled, and they get sold to what's called an intermediary processor. So for example, plastic jugs, they would get sold and they're made into like either flake or sand-like material or pellets, which is a form in which a manufacturer can use. And then they would buy that from the intermediary processor and make something like a bench or your flip-flops or carpet, just as an example, or maybe even plastic bottles again. Where are these facilities? Well, if you're in the administrative office building for Cuyahoga County, your recyclables are going to go to Kimball over in Twinsburg. If you live in Cuyahoga County, your materials may be going to one of these other facilities. The most up-to-date is WM, formerly known as Waste Management, which is in Oakwood Village. Republic, which services some of the county buildings. Their facility is in Oberlin. And of course, Rumpke materials go through Medina, and then they finally go down to Columbus. The biggest problem is contamination. And I think Melanie had mentioned that we want to keep the contamination down as much as possible. So you might want to know, gosh, how do these facilities run? I'm going to show you what Republic's looks like, because that's the one that I've got the video of.
Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. We are here today in Oberlin, Ohio at Republic Services. We're talking with Dan Shavy. Dan, you guys are doing recycling here. Tell us a little bit about what happens when the trucks come in right here at the beginning.
Sure. Well, what happens is they dump their vehicles, that they pick the material up out on the route, and then we take and load it into our system, which sorts it with manpower and also the equipment itself.
Right. So you've got like machines that do some of the sorting, but you also have people on the line that are hand sorting things.
Yes, there's over 30 sorters that physically take material that we don't want on the belts off. So every contaminant that gets put into the system, we physically have to touch.
Talk a little about these contaminants, because I know it's a problem for you guys. What kinds of items are you not looking to have people put in their recycling?
Sure. Some things that have actually caused injury and a lot of damage to our equipment is scrap steel. Lawnmower blades, car parts, things of that nature we really don't want in your toter cart.
You also don't like things like ropes, right, and things that get people entangled, or needles or sharps?
correct, and we do get that material. Garden hoses, we get on average 30 a day. We get a bowling ball a day, believe it or not. Tennis shoes, clothing, textiles, those are all things that cause wrapping and cause us downtime.
Now, on the other hand, what can be recycled? What kinds of items do you like to see in here?
Well, actually, the majority of what you have in your home, we can take. You know, your pop bottles, your cartons, aseptic containers, aluminum cans, of course, steel cans, newspaper, junk mail.
Break down your cardboard.
Cardboard. A lot of the things you'll see in these piles, it's good stuff, but there's a lot of things that are harming the recycling industry, but when you're putting it in your toter.
And if people have questions, they can go to CuyahogaRecycles.org, of course, because they tell you exactly, but piece by piece, what you can recycle.
Exactly. That's a great idea. Please go there, use those resources, and do the right thing and recycle the right way.
Hey, Dan, thanks so much for taking time here. It looks like you guys are quite busy.
Oh, yeah. We get 300 tons in a day through the facility. Yeah, it keeps us busy. We're always kind of cleaning up a mess.
Thanks for taking a few moments.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. Have a great week in Cool Cleveland.
So these MRFs really look just almost exactly alike. I didn't mention that. How are things sorted? They're sorted with lasers, eddy currents, magnets. Lasers can identify different types of plastic. I want to briefly go over what you could recycle at home. All of you can recycle what's in this teal portion at home. But some of you may have other hauling companies like Republic and Rumpke, in which case some of these other items you may be able to recycle as well. You can go to our website, put in your city where it says select a city on the home page, and then just press See Details, which is right next to it, and it will tell you what is recyclable in your city. So I know that people get confused sometimes because what is accepted and not accepted can change over time. Recyclables are what's called commodities, bought and sold on the open market, you know, like other things. And sometimes they're more in demand than other times. So for example, right now, the demand for cardboard has gone down. So the prices for bales of cardboard have gone down with it. Same thing with some of the plastics as well. So that they go up and down depending on the prices of these things go up and down depending upon, you know, what is in demand at the time. When paper became more in demand, some of the recycling companies started taking the paper cups even, and they've had improved infrastructure as to how to process them. You see on the top, the yogurt and the Land O'Lakes containers, those are polypropylene, and Rumpke has equipment at their Columbus facility to process specifically that. Now, some recyclers have started taking these clamshells. Rumpke is one of them. Republic had said they were, but please go on our website, double check everything because it has a tendency to change. Republic now has partnerships with Ravago and Blue Polymers, a plastics company. So they're trying to bring in some more plastics. Rumpke has partnerships with other companies as well. So again, just check and see on our website what is considered recyclable. And remember, whatever is, it has to be completely clean. North Coast Recycling is picking up your shredded paper. They are baling it, and it is going and being recycled. So they're shredding it and baling it. So it is getting recycled, but they do other things as well. They do record storage on site, and they're a specialty recycling company, and there's many of those in our area. So for example, not only does North Coast have the carts for the secure shredding, they take different types of plastic material and Specialty recyclers must take things in large quantities, only take things in large quantities, usually 2,000 pounds or more at a time you have to have. So for example, if you had your own carpet padding, just yours, they're not going to take it. But a carpet company with 2,000 pounds or more of carpet padding, they're going to take that carpet padding. That's true with metal and cardboard and signs and banners and x-ray film and lithograph film, shrink wrap, different types of packaging materials. I've seen them recently take plastic caps in large quantities from a company that I have done some work for. They do not take styrofoam, but they take other kinds of foam from companies, pressure sensitive labels. There's all kinds of things. You can go on their website and see. So as far as a landfill goes, it's not, you don't dig a hole in the ground and then just dump things in. Like that happened many, many years ago. So our lakefront is basically an old landfill. But this is a picture of the proper way to construct a landfill, which is how landfills have to be constructed now. And Catherine, would you like to bring up some poll questions?
Okay, here's the number of landfills question. How many landfills in Cuyahoga County are open and still in use? Okay, we're at 60% participation. Let's see if we can get to 70, folks. Any thoughts? Take a guess. Any guess?
Yep. Guess, please. It's not a trick question.
All right, so I'm going to end the poll and share the results.
Whoever said 0, you are absolutely correct. There are no open landfills within Cuyahoga County. We have what's called these transfer stations, which there's a few within Cuyahoga County where trash is taken and it is then loaded on to semis and then taken from landfills, from there to landfills. The closest landfill is Republic's, I believe, in Oberlin. That's the closest open landfill to us. But as far as landfills go, there's a lot of companies that are involved with the design and maintenance of a landfill. Specialized engineering companies have to, there's many ways to design a landfill, but specialized engineering companies are involved in the design of the landfill and the construction of the landfill. And do some QA as well to make sure that they meet the EPA's requirements, because they have to be approved, of course, by the EPA. Then there's engineering firms that are involved in the environmental monitoring with regards to the landfill gas, soil monitoring, making sure that nothing is leaking into the groundwater. Landfills produce the greenhouse gas methane. A lot of landfills are now recovering it, and it's turning it into electricity or compressed natural gas for trucks. This leachate, this liquid material that is stored in a tank and is tested from time to time. Air monitoring is done on a landfill by certain companies, and we have what's called daily cover on a landfill. A lot of times that's literally, broken glass, so that it just keeps the air, it keeps things from particulate matter from getting into the air. So there's a lot of different companies involved, including the EPA, with regards to landfill construction and monitoring. You can see that a plastic liner is put down, and then collection pipes for all these things. A mat is put down, gravel, there's gravel for drainage, there's more soil, and finally the trash. So it's not a simple process, but the whole idea of it is to contain it and keep everybody safe from who lives around the landfill. I'm trying to move this, and it is not moving for some reason. Is not moving. Don't know why.
Do you see the arrow? Okay, you got it.
Yep, now I got it. Okay, so this is just another example. This is a closed landfill. When a landfill is full, I think we've got American landfill on 480. That's a closed landfill. On 480, you'll see the pipes coming out of it, for methane. So after a landfill is closed, it's got to be whoever owns the landfill has to monitor it for 30 years or more, and to make sure that the methane is taken care of, and has to monitor the leachate and everything, the groundwater. So just because a landfill isn't being used anymore doesn't mean that it gets abandoned. It has to be monitored. There we go. So where do the electronics go from the county? RET3 Job Corps is a company that the Solid Waste District helped begin years ago when there really wasn't any electronics recycling going on in our area. They are a 501c3 nonprofit, and they have the certifications required for safe electronics recycling, where there's fences around things and cameras to make sure everything is secure. If you want your hard drive shredded, you can use, not just the county, but anybody, a business or an individual can use RET3. Now, we do collect electronics here, and ours do go to RET3. They do sell whatever they can't use, and they do a lot of donations to, places like schools. So here's my contact information if you feel you need to get a hold of me directly for some reason. And thank you. If there's questions, Catherine, Melanie, you want to take it from here?
Okay, great. Thank you, Doreen. That's a really helpful big picture view, but we're going to hand it back to Melanie to wrap up our conversation, and then we'll do some questions after that. So Melanie, you can go ahead and start sharing your screen.
Unmute myself. Does it still look right? Well, we're going to get through these last few slides. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it. It does have those strange gray boxes, but I think it'll be all right.
I don't know why that happened. Somebody, if you know, you can come see me after and educate me, and I would appreciate it greatly. Before we move on, I wanted to say a couple of things. First, thank you so much, Doreen. We've appreciated your help as we go through this process at the county, and also your presentation today. You know what? We missed one of your polls, Doreen, but I think it's really interesting. So, Catherine, do you want to pull that one up?
Oh, thank you, Melanie. Forgot about that one. That's the most fun one.
Yeah.
Okay, it's launched now, so go ahead and respond to this one. What sports stadiums are constructed on top of landfills? And by the way, Melanie, your camera is not on yet.
Oh boy. Oh wait, okay. There we go. Thank you.
One of these answers, there's actually there's at least 4 answers. You can put, I guess, I don't know, is that a single choice one?
This one is a single choice, I believe.
Okay, well, there's at least 4 or more. One is going to be really obvious if you want to put an answer in. Hint, hint.
Okay, I'll go ahead and share these results. There we go.
All right, this is exciting. Cleveland Browns Stadium is a yes. It's built on a landfill of cars and tires. Giants Stadium, that is correct. In the beginning, yes. The Meadowlands the area was polluted for like centuries. All kinds of stuff ended up in there. So the Giant Stadium was in the Meadowlands for a long time, and then in 2010 it moved to MetLife Stadium. So yeah, for many years, Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands definitely built on a landfill. Denver's Mile High Stadium, that is awesome. That is also correct. Chicago Bears Stadium, did anybody have that one? Nope. Okay, so Chicago Bears Stadium, in 1924, Soldier Field was built on a closed landfill, and Chicago, the Bears played there. And then they stopped, and then since then, 1971, they played there again. And then now evidently they're moving to Arlington Heights. So they played in many different places, evidently, the Chicago Bears. But if you're talking about Soldier Field, then Chicago Bears Stadium, yes, at one point in time, since 19, and again, recently, more recently, since 1971, it played on Soldier Field on a closed landfill. So thank you.
Thanks, Doreen. Yeah, that was a surprise to me, I must admit, when I learned that information from you. Let's see. I wanted to comment, since you shared so much information about North Coast, that there was a team of us from the county who went and toured North Coast, partly so that we could see exactly what happens to our secure paper, which was really fascinating. But also, as Doreen mentioned, as a specialty recycler, they take a lot of other materials. So the county is looking at, are there other materials that we can divert from county operations over to North Coast for recycling? So we're always looking at opportunities to do that in addition to what you see on the bins. And also about RET3, which is a wonderful organization. And if you're wondering about that, that happens behind the scenes. So if you have electronics that you use at the county and those get replaced, it happens through IT that those are collected and diverted over to RET3. So people might not know that it is happening, but I assure you that it is. So with that, let me go on to the last few slides here. I said that we would leave you with some resources. So this is a page from the intranet for county employees. And you see the initiatives tab. And once you're in there, there is a box here for sustainability. So we have information there about BYO bags, about composting, about the Plastic-Free July event that we do every year, and also about recycling. And we try to keep this information up to date. And if you have more questions, again, you can always reach out to the sustainability department. And even though you've heard from Doreen, I wanted to share a reminder that if you have questions about recycling at home or anywhere outside of our county buildings, you can always reach out to the Solid Waste District at cuyahogarecycles.org. They have a lot of great information, and especially the select a city here, which Doreen mentioned, and also just the what do I do with. So you can type in there the item that you have that you want to figure out how to divert it away from a landfill, and it will give you a wealth of information. And finally, some reminders that we've been talking about recycling and a little bit about composting, but we talk about the 3 R's, right? It's reduce, reuse, and then recycle. And those are in order of importance. So for number 1, reduce, what can you skip? Can you say no to plastic? Skip the straw. Skip the stuff. Do you need the disposable cutlery when you get carry-out materials? Instead, can you use reusable containers, like our water bottles and our BYO bags that the county has been using, which also the Solid Waste District is managing that program and taking that over. So lots of ways that we can reduce our waste. Number 2 is reuse. And aside from the water bottles and things like that, there are a lot of opportunities to say thrift. or find things online through FreeCycle or, maybe Facebook Marketplace or something like that. So how can we reuse what we already have instead of defaulting to always starting with another new material? And then if you do have material that is recyclable, we really hope that you can get it sorted into the correct bin so that it can be diverted to be recycled, go back into that circular economy and create something new, while protecting our environment and creating jobs, and making something cool. So I think that is what we have for you today. Thank you so much. I am going to put it on our Q&A screen here.
Okay, and actually, Melanie, you can go ahead and stop sharing because we're seeing a presenter view, and I will share our wrap-up slides afterward. Lots of screens here today, guys. So
I told you I was impaired, so.
No worries at all. So we do not have any questions in the Q&A box right now, but if anybody would like to ask a question live, I believe you can put your hand up and I can make it so that you can ask your question to our presenters directly. Any questions? Okay, Melanie and Doreen, if you'd like to turn on your cameras, if there's anything else you'd like to share, feel free to do so. I will get my wrap-up slides ready and see if there's any questions that come in during that time, but feel free to share any additional tidbits of information that you weren't presenting on earlier.
I had just wanted to make a clarification. I know it was brought up about those plastic cups, about not recycling them. At the county, please don't recycle those plastic cups. Some of you at home won't be able to recycle those plastic cups, but there are a few of you where some of the haulers are now taking like the Starbucks frappe cup or the Wendy's, and these are cups from, just to be clear, these are cups from mostly like the fast food places. No straws, please, no straws. So if you're thinking about, gee, can I recycle that at home? Check on our website before you go ahead and do that. But right now at the county, it's not happening.
Thanks, Doreen. That's a really good point. Another thing that people might have been thinking about when they were looking at those pictures is sometimes cups that look like regular plastic cups are compostable. And so with our Rust Belt Riders composting program, if you look at that cup and it says compostable and it has the BPI logo on it to say it's BPI certified, then that can go into the composting. I know it can be a little bit tricky, but that's also why we say, if in doubt, throw it out. I know it can feel a little heartbreaking because you really want to divert everything you can, but it's super important to keep those recycling streams and also the composting stream as clean as you can. So if in doubt, in that moment, you can throw it out. And if you want to reach out to any of us for questions, we'd be happy to help you figure it out.
I see a question, yeah.
Yes, we have a question here. The gallon waxed milk carton, can you recycle those? So I'll ask that you respond, can you recycle it at home? And then can you recycle it here at the county?
So the county answer is that no, at our recycling in the county, we cannot recycle those. And I will let, actually Karen Miller is also on the call from the Solid Waste District, and she's probably best to answer that.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Catherine just unmuted me. So yeah, this is one of those, maybe, depends on where you live. So there are certain, as Doreen mentioned, we've got 4 haulers that serve our county. So depending on who your hauler is, yes, you might be able to recycle them. So I just thought I'd mention also that we do an annual survey with the 4 MRFs, and we ask them these questions, what they do and do not accept. I'm actually in the middle of completing those surveys right now. I just did 3 of them this week, and the 4th one is going to be the week after next. So I will have maybe potentially some updated answers for you, but yeah, so the answer is depends on where you live. You can look it up on our website or you can call us and we'll tell you.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
Karen.
you, Karen.
Yep.
All right, seeing no more questions in the Q&A box, does anyone have a question that you'd like to ask live? Just react by putting your hand up. There's a raise hand icon at the bottom of the screen, and I can allow you to talk that way. Okay, we have a question here. Janita, go ahead. We cannot hear you if you're speaking. It looks like you've unmuted yourself.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, now we
Okay.
can hear you.
I have a very old hard drive and I don't know the password for it any longer. So if I were to take it for electronics recycling at RET3, would they be able to make sure that my personal information on that computer is secure, even though I can't go in and delete it myself?
I'd get it shredded by RET3. Is that what you want to do, is just get rid of it?
I think so. I don't even remember what's on it.
Okay, so I would call them and say, can I come and get it shredded? There is a charge for getting it shredded. I don't think it would be much. The other thing is that they've used the, because they're R2 V3 certified, they use the, they wiped the drive 3 times. They've used the what's called Blanco software, which is a Department of Defense, triple wipe on it. If you still don't feel comfortable with that, and you'd be more, you would be more comfortable with them shredding it, then you can ask them to do that. But I would definitely give them a call and discuss what they feel is best for you.
Thank you, Doreen.
Welcome.
Okay, no other questions in the Q&A. Anyone want to shoot your hand up? And also, I will mention that Karen suggested that if Trevor, who asked the question about the milk cartons, if you want to speak about where you live, she can look it up for you right now. So talk about in the moment answers. Okay, go ahead, Trevor.
I live in Cleveland.
Okay,
Cleveland.
yes. Yeah, they're acceptable in Cleveland.
Great. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, well, seeing no more questions, I will go ahead and share my wrap-up slides, but please feel free to type a question and we'll look at the end. Here we go. All right, so I love to share this one for the reuse repair suggestion that the Fix It CLE workshop. There is one here in November at Case Western Reserve University at their Think Box. It's the Monday of Thanksgiving, so if you've taken some time off work, it's a great opportunity to go and get something repaired that you've been waiting to do. They are open from 3 to 7. And pumpkin composting. So the Solid Waste District offers pumpkin composting through November 10th, so that's through this weekend, at these various city locations. Just note that some of those other items like corn stalks, hail bays, bales, yard waste, they don't take those. So stick to pumpkins, and it's pumpkins, I believe, without any, glitter and paint or glue and things like that. So you want your traditional carved pumpkin, or maybe it's just a pumpkin you didn't carve, but is starting to return to nature. So you can compost them with them. And as Doreen mentioned earlier, specialty items that are of the moment are yard signs from the election. So if you've got those, you can take those over to the county's solid waste district as well during business hours. And this is all year long, but right now they're everywhere. And I wanted to announce our next Lunch and Learn, which is going to be a really interesting one. It will be a holiday edition. We tend to do that in the December Lunch and Learn theme-wise, but this one is going to be about decluttering and how can you, one, declutter around the holidays, whether that's related to decorations and whatnot, but it's also about when you get new stuff, what do you do with the stuff you don't need? And how do you sustainably get rid of that and get it into the hands of folks who need it? So we will have an expert here on decluttering. So please join us for that. I will be sending out the registration link next week, and hopefully you can join us. It's on a Tuesday this time instead of our typical Friday, but that's okay. Hopefully you can make it. And if not, there's always the recording. And as promised, here is our wellness code. So you can enter that if you participate in that program. And with that, I just want to thank our speakers. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Doreen. Thank you, Karen. And to all of you for participating. Recycling can be very tricky, and it is always changing. But you know, stick to the basics, and when in doubt, throw it out. So with that, I don't see any more questions in the Q&A. But Melanie, Doreen, if you would like to say anything further, now is your chance.
Real quick, for Melanie, we didn't address cardboard at the county. Do you want to go ahead and address that real quick?
Sure, thanks, Doreen. I did not include that. So each building might be slightly different, but what you want to do when you have corrugated cardboard boxes, break them down so they're flat. In the HQ administration building, they should get slid next to those North Coast toters, and they will be collected from there. In the 1801, 1803 building, there is a place on the loading dock that you can drop them off. And it may vary from one building to another in the rest of our county locations. If you don't know where that is and you'd like our help finding out where it is, please do let us know. And thanks everybody for joining today and for your time.
Okay, great. Thank you again, and we will see you all in December.